She got off early today.
Well, she told me before the judge was letting them go at 3.
Right.
So, and she said, as soon as I get in the car, I'll let you know, but I haven't heard from her. So maybe she and the judge are talking. He had some stuff to tell her yesterday because evidently he knows the judge up in Tallahassee. So he was giving her some information from that.
Oh.
Yeah, so...
Very serious. This weekend marked the 11th anniversary of the murder of FSU law professor Dan Markel, and it is also a key weekend in the case of State of Florida versus Dan Markel's former mother-in-law, Donna Adelson. In this video, we will do a brief update about the Donna Adelson case. We will also discuss why the potential case against Wendi Adelson remains solid, and we will address some of the evidence against Wendi, including evidence suggesting that she got 2 judges helping her obtain evidence about the state's case before the release of the probable cause affidavit. Or at least that's the initial plan for the video. Let's start with the latest in the Donna Adelson case. The state revealed its last expert witness, Kate Butler, who works for the FDLE but is based in Pensacola, Florida. She is a handwriting expert, and she will be the one comparing the script of one of the jailhouse informants, the script that supposedly was given to that informant by Donna Adelson, with what the informant was supposed to testify about in support of Donna Adelson. The expert will compare Donna's writings in her calendars, which we discussed previously on this channel, with the writings on the script, and she is expected to testify that the handwritings match. Additionally, Judge Everett entered an order solidifying the deadlines in the case in anticipation of the trial that is going to start in August, with jury selection starting on August 19. This Monday, July 21st, 2025, tomorrow, is the deadline for much of the pretrial work that has to be done in the case. Over this weekend and tomorrow, the defense and prosecutors have to finish up a lot of work. Monday is also the discovery deadline, where all the depositions have to be done. Monday is also the deadline for pretrial motions and for sharing witness, exhibit, and demonstrative aids or exhibits lists. In the order, the judge noted that the defense already missed prior deadlines for some of these filings, in particular the deadlines for pretrial motions. And Judge Everett suggested that if the defense misses the deadline again, the defense risks the court ruling that the issues that were not pursued via timely motions were waived. The court did indicate that the deadlines will not be changed absent good cause. So in the next couple of days, depending on how fast the clerk files materials in the case, we should learn whether or not Donna will be ready for trial. We may learn that the defense finally complied with the court's deadlines, or if they cannot, we may see another desperate motion for extension of time. At least this time, it is unlikely that they will just ignore the deadline, as they have done in the past, and hope that the judge will give them after-the-fact extensions. All right, let's move on to Wendi Adelson. Given this anniversary, we think it is time to talk about Wendi again. The case against Wendi remains solid in spite of the Castigar issues. As a reminder, the state is not allowed to prosecute her based on evidence derived from her testimony under subpoena at the prior trials. They have to rely on independent evidence. This is the so-called Castigar issue. However, there is a lot to work with when it comes to Wendi. A list to bring the matter in front of a grand jury. Well, in this video, I'm not going to discuss the full list of facts that indicate Wendi's knowledge and or involvement in the murder of her ex-husband. Instead, I will talk about one I never discussed before. In 2016, Wendi Adelson lived in Miami, and she had a very prestigious job. She was a law clerk to a federal judge, That judge was no other than 11th Circuit Court of Appeals Judge Adalberto Jordan. Judge Jordan is a good friend of a Tallahassee judge, Judge Jonathan Strostrom, who at that time was the chief judge of the Second Judicial Circuit. Both judges worked together in a South Florida law firm long before each of them became a judge, even handling cases together. It would not be surprising, therefore, if Judge Strostrom had recommended Wendi to his friend, Judge Jordan. Wendi was a law professor at FSU, active in legal clinics, and often gave presentations, including presentations about human trafficking. It would not be surprising if she had met and was friendly with Judge Strostrom, an excellent judge who is very amiable and who often helped younger lawyers. On May 25, 2016, investigator Sherry Bennett presented the probable cause affidavit for the arrest of Sigfredo Garcia for the murder of Dan Markel to Judge Strostrom. Judge Strostrom reviewed it and found that there was probable cause for the arrest. The next day, the Tallahassee Police Department asked Judge Strostrom to enter an order sealing the probable cause affidavit, preventing it from becoming public upon the arrest of Sigfredo Garcia. The probable cause affidavit contained a full section discussing the motive for the murder, all about the Adelsons and their reasons for wanting to kill Dan Markel. If indeed Judge Strostrom recommended Wendi to Judge Jordan, then it is totally understandable that Judge Strostrom would call his friend, Judge Jordan, to warn him, to let him know that the Adelsons were the targets of the murder investigation, that it was thought that the Adelsons had ordered a hit on Dan Markel. And apparently, that is exactly what happened. It seems that Judge Strostrom called his friend, Judge Jordan, and told him about the allegations, either on the 25th or the 26th of May 2016. Next, rather than keeping whatever information he received private, it seems that Judge Jordan shared this with his law clerk, Wendi Adelson, at least some of the information that he had received from Judge Strostrom. This is where there is an additional fact pointing to Wendi's involvement in the conspiracy and murder of her ex-husband. What she does next with this information that she received with Judge Jordan suggests her involvement. Wendi certainly would know that sharing the information with anyone could get both Judge Strostrom and Judge Jordan in trouble. If she were innocent in the murder, she had just learned that her family was indeed likely involved in the murder, that they had hired two hitmen from Miami to kill her ex-husband, or, as she calls him, her late ex. So what does she do? Does she choose integrity, protecting the judge or judges who trusted her with this inside information about the investigation, keeping the knowledge to herself? Or does she share the news with her family, the people who are being accused of being involved, allowing them to possibly escape or make other arrangements to make prosecution against them more difficult? She chooses the latter, and virtually immediately she shares information with Donna and even apparently suggests to Donna that she will try to use Judge Jordan to get additional information from Judge Strostrom the next day. A few days later, Judge Strostrom interferes in the Sigfredo Garcia case on his own, and without anyone requesting it, he enters an order unsealing the probable cause affidavit. So, in our opinion, this additional fact is one more in a long list of facts and circumstances and supposed coincidences that support the conclusion that Wendi Adelson was involved in the murder of her ex-husband, or that at the very minimum she had prior knowledge of the conspiracy and the plan to murder him. Of course, it would be awesome to speak to Judge Jordan, for detectives to speak to him, or for Judge Jordan to go to the detectives and offer to them whatever information he has about what happened, what interactions he had with Wendi, about the probable cause affidavit before it was released? What was her reaction? Did he obtain from her an agreement not to share that information with anyone else, etc.? Certainly, such information would be very useful in any potential prosecution of Wendi Adelson, if she is ever charged, and in the effort to obtain full justice for what happened to Markel. So now we'll share with you guys a prior timeline that we prepared around these events. Again, this is all based on the wiretap conversation and our interpretation of it. We played it to you guys here twice, especially the portion where we obtain information from. Also, it is based on some well-known information about Judge Jordan and Judge Jostrom. Of course, we have made some inferences from the evidence, and the final determination of what really happened really should be made by law enforcement, not by somebody on YouTube, after a full investigation and after the two individuals are offered an opportunity to speak. If I were the prosecutors or the investigators, I would call them in under subpoena with full protections of immunity and ask them what they know, what happened. Here we go. Let me also go ahead and read to you guys the probable cause affidavit that I was talking about, the one that was reviewed by Judge Jostrom and that he approved and concluded from his review that there was probable cause to arrest Secretary Garcia. I'm just going to read to you guys the section that is titled Motive for Murder. And it goes like this. Investigators obtained information from sources that Markel had gone through a bitter divorce with Wendi Adelson, who was also a professor at FSU Law School. Wendi filed for divorce on Monday, September 10, 2012. Markel reportedly returned home from a business trip to find his family gone, a majority of the contents of the house missing, and the paperwork for the dissolution of marriage displayed on his bed. He eventually learned Wendi and their two children had moved to her parents' home in Coral Springs, Broward County, Florida. Reportedly, Markel protested and Wendi returned to Liam County with the children until legal arguments could be heard. On June 20, 2013, Liam County Circuit Judge Hobbs formally denied, with prejudice, Wendi's motion for relocation with the children. Court documents show that the divorce was resolved without trial by a marital settlement agreement and granted by Judge Hobbs on July 31, 2013. Email evidence indicates Wendi's parents, especially her mother, wanted Wendi to coerce Markel into allowing their relocation to South Florida. Additionally, Wendi's brother, Charles Adelson, reportedly did not like Markel and did not get along with him. On February 14, 2014, Markel filed a counter motion to enforce the marital settlement agreement's financial provision and motion for sanctions. Markel claimed Wendi and her attorney had not been forthcoming in the MSA regarding her financial assets. On March 26, 2014, Markel filed a counter motion for enforcement of the MSA on parenting issues and motion for contempt and sanctions. One of the points of contention in this motion was Wendi's mother, Donna Adelson, and her reported negative interaction with the children. Markel claimed Donna made disparaging remarks about him to his sons. Markel sought relief in this motion by asking the court to prohibit Donna from having unsupervised time with her grandchildren and to impose limitations to prevent the children from being subjected to disparaging comments about their father. These motions were scheduled for a court hearing on May 15, 2014. However, due to substitutions of counsel, the hearing was continued. A new court hearing date had not yet been scheduled prior to Markel's death. Investigators believe motive for this murder stemmed from the desperate desire of the Adelson family to relocate Wendi and the children to South Florida, along with a pending court hearing that might have impacted their access to the grandchildren. So that's the end of the section that talks about the motive. The one thing that I just realized is that in this probable cause affidavit, they say that Wendi and the children, after she called Dan Markel to let him know that she was getting a divorce, that she moved to Coral Gables. And that's not my understanding. My understanding is that she actually moved to a different house here in Tallahassee. But it explains to me now why at the first trial, when Georgia Capel was cross-examining Wendi Adelson, she asked about the fact of whether she moved to South Florida. I had not seen that anywhere. And now I see where it came from. It's in this affidavit. So I wonder where the investigators got that information from. I would assume that maybe she went to visit them, spent some time there, but she hadn't moved there. She obviously had rented a place here in Tallahassee, and she had people help her move there. So I know that she was keeping that information secret from Dan Markel. She didn't want to let him know where she had moved to, but not that she had moved to South Florida. So I believe that that's incorrect in the probable cause affidavit, but it's a minor point anyway. All right, here we go. Here's the timeline. So let's start with the origin of this question, the wiretap. On May 27, 2016, the FBI recorded a conversation between Donna and her son, Charles Adelson. Donna's daughter, Wendi Adelson, is in large part of the focus of the conversation. A few minutes into the conversation, Donna explains that Harvey Adelson was going to downtown Miami to pick up some friends who were arriving in town, while Wendi Adelson was supposed to leave downtown Miami to go to Donna's place after she got off work to pick up her boys. The same two boys whose control was the alleged motive for the murder of Dan Markel, their father. Charlie then asks his mom, "Oh, she got off early today?" "Well, she told me before the judge was letting them go at 3. "Right. So, and she said, as soon as I get in the car, I will let you know. But I haven't heard from her. So maybe she and the judge are talking. He had some stuff to tell her yesterday because evidently he knows the judge up in Tallahassee. So he was getting her some information from that." "All right. Yeah. So he's being very nice to her, and that's so we will see." The conversation then moves off the topic. An analysis of the conversation reveals that there are 2 judges that are being talked about in this mother-son conversation. One, a judge in Miami, for whom Wendi was working, and another one, the judge in Tallahassee, who was apparently passing information to the judge in Miami, who in turn was sharing information with Wendi, or at least that is what Donna seems to be suggesting to her son Charlie. In other words, Donna suggests that the Miami judge obtained information from the Tallahassee judge and shared information he learned with Wendi on May 26, 2016, and that Wendi may be late calling her after getting off work on the day of this call, the 27th, perhaps because the Miami-based judge is giving her additional information. As you can imagine, this conversation piqued our curiosity, so we started to do a deep dive in order to figure out who were the 2 judges that Donna was talking about and what information was likely being shared through them to Wendi. To do that, we started our analysis with a timeline. The wiretap recording is from Friday, May 27, 2016. According to Donna, the conversation between the judge and Wendi was the previous day, Thursday, May 26, 2016. Here is the relevant timeline. September 10, 2012. Dan Markel's then-wife, Wendi Adelson, files for divorce and moves out with their kids while Dan Markel is in New York for an academic conference. June 20th, 2013. Judge denies Wendi's motion for relocation with children, according to court records. July 31st, 2013. Divorce in child custody is resolved through a settlement agreement. May 15th, 2014. Hearing scheduled for motion to prohibit Adelson's mother from seeing grandchildren unsupervised and to address Dan Markel's claims that Wendi Adelson committed fraud during divorce. The hearing is continued because in early May, Wendi's counsel withdrew. The hearing was never reset due to the death of Dan Markel. June 3 and 4, 2014. F1 Miami hitmen make their first trip to Tallahassee to attempt the murder on Dan Markel, but they give up before they accomplish their mission. July 1st, 2014. There is a judge reassignment in the case between Dan Markel and Wendi Adelson regarding their post-divorce disputes. Judge Barbara Hobbs is substituted by another judge, Circuit Court Judge Jonathan Hostrom. July 15, 2014, a Prius tied to the crime scene is rented in North Miami. July 16, 2014, police say suspects Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera traveled to Tallahassee from North Miami. July 18, 2014, Garcia and Rivera accomplished the hit on Dan Markel inside the garage of his Trescott Drive home. Markel dies a few hours later on July 19. July 21st, 2014, Tallahassee Police Department creates tip line dedicated to the investigation of Markel's murder. Police say Markel was specifically targeted. July 23, 2014, image of gray Prius seen in area around the time that the crime occurred is released. July 31st, 2014, Tallahassee Police Department releases recording of 911 call to Consolidated Dispatch Agency. It's determined that human error led to delay in getting help for Markel. July 1st, 2015, Circuit Court Judge Jonathan Hostrom becomes Chief Judge. July 17th, 2015, Tallahassee Police Department releases new details in Markel case on 1-year anniversary, including more details of the Prius, and says the vehicle may not have belonged to the driver. Anonymous donor offers a separate $100,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction. February 25, 2016, Tallahassee Police Department releases new documents in the Markel case. New details include that keys were still in ignition in his vehicle and that Markel's house was locked at the time of the murder. April 7th, 2016, Circuit Court Judge James Hankinson grants wiretap warrant investigators requested due to upcoming bump operation designed to get the co-conspirators to the murder to talk. These documents are not available to the public. April 19, 2016, the bump happens. The FBI carries out the bump operation. An undercover FBI agent approaches Donna Adelson in the street and demands money for Tato. April 19, 2016, Donna Adelson calls Charles Adelson minutes after the bump, asks him to meet, tells her son that she was approached by someone on the street, suggests that the issue involved probably the two of us so that he understands what she's talking about. April 20, 2016, the FBI records a conversation between Charles Adelson and his ex-girlfriend, Catherine McVanua, at the Dolce Vita restaurant. Charles is heard trying to figure out if they are being approached by the cops or by someone who knows something. May 24th, 2016, investigators interview Garcia. According to court documents, Garcia denies ever being in Tallahassee, says he has made no tricks with Rivera, and knows nothing about homicide. May 25, 2016, 34-year-old Sigfredo Garcia is arrested in Hallandale Beach, Florida, on charges of first-degree murder relating to the Dan Markel case. May 26, 2016, Chief Judge Jonathan Hostrom enters an order granting the Tallahassee Police Department's motion to seal the probable cause affidavit in the case against Sigfredo Garcia. The Tallahassee Police Department holds a press conference informing the public of the arrest of Sigfredo Garcia for the murder of Dan Markel and announces that documents in the case have been ordered by a judge to be sealed. May 26, 2016, the same day, Wendi Adelson supposedly receives information from the judge who employs her, Judge Adalberto Jordan of the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, who is apparently a friend of the judge in Tallahassee. May 27th, 2016, Donna is recorded on the phone with Charles Adelson and tells Charles Wendi has not yet called her because she may be talking to the judge again. June 1st, 2016, Garcia is extradited from South Florida and booked into the Leon County Jail. On the same day, Judge Terry Lewis is assigned to the Sigfredo Garcia case. June 2nd, 2016, Sigfredo Garcia appears in the Leon County Courthouse for his first appearance before Judge Gary. He does not enter a plea. That same day, June 2nd, 2016, the Chief Judge Hostrom, who is not the judge assigned to the case, apparently on his own enters an order in the case which is now assigned to Judge Lewis, vacating his own May 26th order and effectively makes the investigators' theories about the case public. The affidavit names Luis Rivera as a second defendant, establishes connections between the Adelson family and Garcia, provides more details and timelines of murder accusations, according to Tallahassee Police Department. June 17, 2016, a Leon County grand jury indicts both Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera for the murder of Dan Markel. June 24, 2016, Sigfredo Garcia pleads not guilty in court appearance. Defense attorney James Lewis says the state has informed him it plans to seek the death penalty. June 28, 2016, Luis Rivera is extradited to the Leon County Jail from Coleman Federal Correctional Complex in Central Florida, where he had been incarcerated on unrelated charges. August 4th, 2016, Leon County grand jury plans to reconvene to review evidence of the Dan Markel murder case. Several emails between Wendi and Sarah on August 4th, 2016, during the commotion and media frenzy created by the arrest of Sigfredo Garcia and the unsealing of the probable cause affidavit that accused the Adelsons of being involved in a murder-for-hire plot to kill Wendi's ex-husband. Wendi wanted to hit back at the media, and she asked her long-term friend Sarah Yusuf for help. Here is what Wendi wrote. Would you consider speaking on my behalf on print or news media? I need your help. Please let me know ASAP. If so, I will put you in touch with my lawyer, John Lauro. Hugs, Wendi. And this is how Sarah responded on the same day, August 4th, 2016. Dear Wendi, I love you and want to help you so much. What exactly would you like me to do or say? Here's my concern. I think the prosecution would then subpoena me to ask me about the details of the marriage and our conversations over the last several years. I wouldn't want them to get additional facts and twist and turn them to harm you. I want to keep you safe. Love, Sarah. August 29, 2016, state releases interview video of Wendi Adelson. In the video, Adelson tells police about her brother's joke about hiring a hitman. September 8, 2016, Luis Rivera demands speedy trial, which is set by a judge for October 24th, 3 weeks prior to co-defendant Sigfredo Garcia's trial. September 17, 2016, Dan Markel's murder, the suspects, and the Adelson family all subjects of an episode on ABC's 2020. September 28 and the 29th, 2016, Luis Rivera's lawyer, Chuck Collins, requests trial to be moved from Tallahassee. The judge denies the request for venue change less than 1 day later. October 1st, 2016, Kathy Magbanua arrested in Broward County, facing charges of first-degree murder for the murder of Dan Markel. October 4th, 2016, Luis Rivera pleads guilty to second-degree murder and is sentenced to 19 years in prison. October 10, 2016, just a few days later, Catherine Magbanua is booked into the Leon County Jail for first-degree murder charges. Okay, so now we know the context. On May 26, 2016, Wendi Adelson is working for the federal appellate court judge, Judge Jordan. On the same day, the chief judge of the Second Judicial Circuit in Florida, Judge Hostrom, entered an order on motion by the Tallahassee Police Department sealing the probable cause affidavit. On the same date, it seems Judge Hostrom talked to Judge Jordan about the affidavit. Then, Judge Jordan talked to Wendi about it. Donna's suggestion that Wendi's judge knows the judge in Tallahassee seems correct. Both Judge Jordan and Judge Hostrom worked at the same law firm, Steele, Hector, and Davis, in Miami, before either became a judge. Did Judge Hostrom know that Wendi worked for Judge Jordan? Did he recommend her to him? We don't know. Of course, we also do not know what exactly Judge Hostrom shared with Judge Jordan. However, if anything of substance was shared between the judges, that it is shared with Wendi, this is deeply problematic. The reason that Tallahassee Police Department asked for the affidavit to be sealed was to protect the investigation, which was ongoing. Releasing the information to an alleged co-conspirator, or at a minimum, a family member of an alleged co-conspirator, likely had a significant and negative effect on the prosecution. For example, what if all or key details of the affidavit were revealed to Wendi Adelson? Having full knowledge of the investigator's theory could have helped them prepare the other alleged co-conspirators for the possible eventuality of their arrests. As we all know, Catherine Mafanois was only arrested months later. When she was arrested, she was already represented by lawyers. With the Adelsons having a preview of what was coming and the knowledge that Katie was likely the next person to go down, they could have helped prepare her and convince her that she had nothing to worry about. The ethics rules that apply to judges make it imperative for judges to do everything in their power to avoid not just actual impropriety, but also the appearance of impropriety. If indeed Judge Hostrom shared information with Judge Jordan about the sealed affidavit, but he had no knowledge or intention that the information be passed along to Wendi, it really does not matter that much. To someone viewing this matter from the outside, the transfer of any such confidential information to the employer of Wendi Adelson, where the information the cops sought to protect, all related to her family's involvement in a plot to kill her ex-husband, clearly gives an impression of impropriety. To make matters worse, a few days later, after the case had already been assigned to Judge Lewis, Judge Hostrom, apparently on his own, enters an order unsealing the affidavit. Of course, we do not know, and we are not saying, that this was done at the request of the Adelsons. However, a logical observer who wants to give Judge Hostrom the benefit of the doubt wouldn't have to analyze the situation too deeply to reach the conclusion that the order releasing the affidavit was likely a way for Judge Hostrom to protect himself, to protect the reality that he released the information from the document to others in violation of his own order, assuming that he did that. Interestingly, Judge Hostrom turned in and testified against another judge, Barbara Hobbs, the same judge who denied Wendy's motion to move to South Florida, when Judge Hobbs got herself entangled in her son's arrest and prosecution for the shooting of his girlfriend, for which he ultimately received a suspension. It is also curious when it comes to the case of State of Florida versus Donna Adelson and the upcoming trial, that the State of Florida has listed so many attorneys, defense attorneys, as witnesses in the case, including Jim Lewis, the early attorney for Sigfrida Garcia, and Tara Kawas, one of the early attorneys for Catherine Mafanois. Obviously, the judges in question that we just mentioned are not included in the witness list, but people who may have had knowledge about the potential leak of information from the affidavit, from the probable cause affidavit to Wendi Adelson, they are on the witness list. So I wonder if this issue is going to come up at all in the actual trial. There is quite a bit of hypocrisy in all of this, considering that no one has looked into this matter since 2016. Judge Jordan and Judge Hostrom are very accomplished lawyers and jurists. It is sad that they seemingly got entangled in the Wendi Adelson web.
Judge Jordan and Judge Hostrom are very accomplished lawyers and jurists. It is sad that they seemingly got entangled in the Wendi Adelson web.
Hey, Charlie.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
Nothing. I was just hoping that we'd have a chance to see each other tomorrow.
Yeah, if you guys want to see me, I'm always available.
Okay, because we're taking Russell and Eileen to this cruise ship. I don't know the exact time, but I'm sure by 12 o'clock or 1 at the latest. So I thought if we could drop them off and come straight up, that might work for you. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, if you want to come up, do that. Get off the beach. I mean, it's gonna be crazy this weekend.
Oh, I know. Even Sam was supposed to come down. We had reservations at Milo's, and they sent me an email I actually saw it this morning, but they sent it late last night that they forgot it was Urban Weekend, so we're going to cancel that one out.
That's the one weekend everybody leaves the beach, they go on vacation.
That's right. You should see the elevator this morning. The elevator was packed with families with their kids getting into suitcases, and everybody was going somewhere.
Yep. All the white people go to the Keys and they think.
That's right. That's where they were going. They were going to the Keys. Funny.
You know what it is? They made that Urban Weekend The thing is, they set up DUI checkpoints everywhere. They make it so unwelcoming for them that if they step off the sidewalk, they get arrested.
Yeah, I know, but there was
they still come.
It was a murder last night.
Oh, it's
on
every
Collins, I think. So
yeah, every year there's always stay away down there. Oh yeah, no, it's every year.
People stay away or stay put in your place. Go down to the Icon pool, play, whatever. And that's what we'll do. Wendy's friend, Wendy's friend Jen is coming in tomorrow, so she'll be here for 3 days. And so when he'll stay put, then we'll stay put. Except after we bring them there, we'll come up and visit and look at that.
How many times has Wendy's friend Jen come down to see her?
No, she actually, she was supposed to come about 2 months ago or 3 months ago.
Yeah, no, but I said, how many times has she come down? It's like the fourth or fifth time.
She's a single girl and she's a teacher. She teaches at NYU. So if she gets a 3-day weekend, why not?
Yeah, no, she buys a plane ticket and that's it.
Yeah, buys a ticket and then
hopefully she doesn't give one to keep giving her that great advice.
Yeah, I know. It was a problem last time, so hopefully not. So anyway,
she comes down and creates problems and
when I saw Wendi. 1 second, what Dave? Thank you so much. Oh, thank you, honey. Because and I saw Wendi yesterday when she came to school, and Dave came over to her and he was holding her. And, he's there for her. He's there for her.
I think if anything, she's realizing what it's like to have someone who's there for you,
right?
Versus what Jen Jennings' advice is.
Yeah, hopefully.
She's not 25, Wendi.
No, she's not.
She's 37 with 2 kids. It's not like, if you want to set me up with a Victoria's Secret model that's 37 with 2 kids, you already know what I'll tell you.
I know. I've heard that story before.
Thank you, but no thank you.
Yeah. So.
Could you see me moving 2 kids into my house?
No.
And aren't mine?
How are you doing otherwise? Everything okay?
Good. Yeah, just working away.
Okay.
So it wasn't as busy and as stressful as yesterday. Patients yesterday were just. I had no patience for patients anymore. I'm getting too old for this shit. Really.
Yeah, I know.
Trust me.
Yeah, so that's why I thought, a nice relaxing lunch with your parents would be nice.
Yeah, I'll do that. Just let me know when you plan on dropping them off, when you plan on coming up.
Right.
I'll probably have June here. I'm going to tell her that because we got to go over that stuff to the apartment, all the receipts.
Exactly. I want to just make sure I'm doing everything right. And that's really not something Danny can do. It's more bookkeeping. So it's really stuff for us to take care of together.
Yeah, no, I totally got to go through it.
Yeah.
To see it.
Perfect. And it shouldn't take more than a half hour.
So your friends flew in today, and then you're going to...
No, they flew in Wednesday. They flew down Wednesday, and they went to visit my other high school friends up in Port St. Lucie.
Okay.
So they were up there with one, and then they saw another one in Delray, and then they just drove down. So that's why Dad just went over to pick them up at the downtown. Funny, he's going downtown to get them, and Wendy's coming from downtown to get the boys.
She got off early today?
Well, she told me before the judge was letting them go at 3.
Right.
So she said, as soon as I get in the car, I'll let you know, but I haven't heard from her. So maybe she and the judge are talking. He had some stuff to tell her yesterday because evidently he knows the judge up in Tallahassee. So he was giving her some information from that.
Oh.
Yeah. So he's been very nice to her. And that's that. So
anyway, so I will give me a shout tomorrow. So you're thinking you're going to the cruise leaves at 12 or you're dropping them?
No. I think we're dropping them. I'm going to ask them when they get here. I'll find out, what time do you want us to leave you the cruise ship. And then once I know that, I'll text you and say we'll be leaving the cruise ship at whatever, 12 or 1. So we'll be up to you a half hour later. Okay.
So let's do that.
And that's the time frame that I'm thinking. Usually people like to get on, and their experienced cruises, they like to get on early, and
All right. Hey, just let me know in the morning, and
I will. Or if I know earlier, if I know tonight, I'll tell them right away. I'll tell you as soon as I know.
Yeah, you don't have to let me know the exact second. I don't want one to be 4 and then I sit them out.
Right.
So
Right.
that's fine.
Oh no, it won't be. Definitely won't be that way.
All right, sounds
Sounds
good.
good, honey. I'm glad you finished with the day. I really am. You need
All right.
need a little rest. Okay, go relax a little.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
You got it. I love you, doll. Bye.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive. Signing off, Steph the Sleuth and Mentor Lawyer.
Very serious.